Good evening to all. Welcome back to 7th Standard Social online class. Students, today we are going to see a new lesson in History Unit number 2. Students, have you visited Mahabalipuram? For which that place is famous for? Yes, the Shore Temple. And we can see many sculptures and statues, all were made up of stone. So that architectures of Tamil Nadu, today only we are going to see. So today we are going to see a new topic, art and architecture of Tamil Nadu. In this lesson, we are going to understand the evolution of temple architecture in South India and to gain knowledge about the cultural heritage of Tamil, to know the contribution of Pallavas, Cholas, Vijayanagar and Nayak rulers to the development of temple art in Tamil Nadu. Let me start the introduction. Dravidian architecture is of indigenous origin in South India, particularly in Tamil Nadu. Our architecture name is Dravidian architecture. It is of local origin. Indigenous means local origin. It is originated in Tamil Nadu. It advanced over time by a process of evolution. The earliest example of the Tamil Dravidian architectural tradition were the 7th century rocket shrines at Mahabalipuram. So the best example for Dravidian architecture during the period of 7th century is that the rocket shrines that is in Mahabalipuram. Nowadays also we can see that rocket temple. The absence of monument in South India prior to the 7th century is attributed by scholars to temples or to have been built in wood, which were eventually destroyed by forces of nature. So before 7th century, there may be temple in South India which were made up of wood, but that temple may be destroyed by the natural calamities like flood, cyclone, etc. So we have no evidence of wood temple. In Tamil Nadu, the evolution of temple architecture took place in 5 stages. They are the Pallava epoch, that is 600 to 850. Then early Chola epoch, that is 850 to 1100, and later Chola 1100 to 1350. Vijayanagar Nayak epoch. Epoch is nothing but period. 1350 to 1600, and modern epoch, that is after 1600. First we will see that the Pallava period. So during the Pallava period, what are the temple architectures that were established? The Pallava epoch witnessed a transition from rocket to freestanding temple. So during 7th century, we can see that rocket temple. During the Pallava period, that system was changed from rocket to freestanding temple. Freestanding temples were constructed. Rocket temples. You see here this picture, this is rocket temple. That is, they carved a single rock into a temple. This is we call rocket cave temple. This example rocket temple, that is in Mandagapattu. See here, a single rock is carving. They inscribe. The temples were initially built by carving a rock. They carve a rock to the required design, and then rocks were cut to build temple. The Pallava king Mahendravarman, you underline the name, very important GK question. Students, in this lesson we can get many one word GK questions. The Pallava king Mahendravarman, he was the first person that we call pioneer in rocket architecture. He was a first person. First person means pioneer. Mandagapattu temple was the first rocket temple built by Mahendravarman. Note this one. Mahendravarman, he was a Pallava king. He was the first person for the rocket architecture. The best example for rocket architecture is rocket cave temple in Mandagapattu. It was built by Mahendravarman. The rocket cave structure has two pillars in front of that hold. So the two pillars the two pillars hold the total rock. All the cave temples have simple sanctum cut on the rear side of the wall with a frontage projecting mandapa. Mandapa that we call pavilion. See here. On either side are two dwarapalagas. Can we see that each and every temples, two gatekeepers, they were standing in front of that temple. They were called as dwarapalagas, that is gatekeeper statues. This cave architecture reached this decadent phase after 7th century AD or 700 AD. So this type of rocket architectural type, it began to decline after 700, and it gave a new type of architectures that we call structural temple that was emerged, because the structural temples provided a wider scope to the sculpture to use their skill. The show temple at Mahabalipuram, also called as seven pagodas, seven kovil, seven temples. Pagodas means seven temples. It was built by the Pallava king Narasimhavarman II. Note this one. Nowadays we can see this show temple in Mahabalipuram. It is otherwise called as seven pagodas. Seven pagodas means seven temple that was built by the great Pallava king Narasimhavarman II. Another important GK question. It is the oldest structural temple. Mahendravarman, he built rocket temple, but Narasimhavarman, he changed the type, rocket type, and he introduced a new type called structural temple. So he built that seven temple. It was an old structural temple in South India. The structural temple were built using blocks of rock instead of a whole block as earlier. But during the period of Mahendravarman, they used a single rock. The rock was carved during the period of Mahendravarman. But Narasimhavarman, he used many blocks of rocks. Narasimhavarman II, also known as Rajasimha. Note this one, another important question. Narasimhavarman II, he was otherwise called Rajasimha. He built the famous Kanji Kailasanatha temple. You see here, this is Kanji Kailasanatha temple. Nowadays we can see this temple in Kanjipuram. This was built by Narasimhavarman II. And the Vaikunta Perumal temple at Kanjipuram, it was built by Nandivarman II. Students, again I am repeating, Narasimhavarman II, he built this Kanji Kailasanatha temple. You see here another temple in Kanjipuram, Vaikunta Perumal temple. This temple was built by Nandivarman II. Mahabalipuram, otherwise called as Mamalapuram, is built of cut stones rather than carved out of caves. It has two shrines. Two shrines means that is Garbhagriha. One dedicated to Lord Shiva and another one was dedicated to Lord Vishnu. So this temple have two Garbhagriha. One was dedicated to Lord Shiva and another Garbhagriha, that is in Vishnu statue was there. The Tamil Dravida tradition is exemplified by a rocket monument such as, underline the word, Panja Pandava Rathas. Panja Pandava Rathas. Who were the Panja Pandavas? Dharma, Bhima, Arjuna, Nagula, Sagadeva. They were called as Panja Pandava. So each one they are having a separate Rathas. That we call Panja Pandava Rathas. And also Draupadi Ratha. Draupadi Ratha, Dharmaraja Ratha, Bhima Ratha, Arjuna Ratha, and Nagula Sagadeva Ratha, commonly called as Panja Pandava Ratha. The outer wall of the Rathas, especially of Arjuna, Bhima and Dharmaraja, their outer wall, these Rathas' outer wall, that were decorated with niches and motifs. Niches, a small stand, niches and motifs. The niches have the sculptures. In that stand, we can see so many sculptures of gods, goddesses, and kings. Monarchs means kings, and scenes from some mythological creature. We can see that small sculptures on that wall. The Arjunan's penance, carved on the face of a granite builder, is a magnificent relief measuring approximately 100 feet long by 45 feet high. You see here, this is Arjunan penance. Its height is 100 and with height is 45 feet and long is 100 feet. It is built by the stone called granite stone. You underline this one. This is Arjunan penance. The Mamalapuram monument and temples, including the Shore Temple complex, were notified as UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1984. So, in 1984, our Mahabalipuram or Mamalapuram monuments and temples, including the Shore Temple, were accepted as the World Heritage Site, accepted by the World Organization UNESCO. So, important GK question, note this one. Now we will see the Pandya Temple. Pandya, they ruled which place? Yes, Madurai. Madurai, which temple is famous in Madurai? Yes, Madurai Meenakshi Amman Temple. Not only that, Tirupurangundram Temple and Tirumal Nayak Mahal, these are famous in Madurai. Particularly, which empire? Pandya Empire. Pandya Temple in Pallava epoch. Early Pandyas were the contemporary of the Pallavas. So when Pallava ruled Kanjipuram, at the same time the Pandya also ruled in Madurai. So same period people is called as contemporary persons. Unlike the Pallavas, Pandyas installed deities in the sanctum. Sanctum means Garbhagriha in their cave temple. So the Pandyas, they established a separate sanctum in their cave temple. More than 50 cave temples have been found in different parts of the Pandyan Empire. So, more than 50 cave temples were discovered. The most important of them are found in Mayiladukurichi, Anamalai, Tirupurangundram and Tiruchirappalli. Now, the places, in 4 places we can discover so many cave temples. These caves were dedicated to Lord Shiva, Vishnu and Brahma. In the Shiva temple of Pandyas, the Linga, Shiva temple in the Garbhagriha, we can see that Linga is the main statue. The Linga is carved out of the mother rock. The figure of the Nandi in front of the Linga, there must be a Nandi in a sitting position. That also is carved out of the same mother rock. The Sivalingam in the sanctum is installed in the center with enough space all around it. So in the Garbhagriha, only at the center, that was Sivalingam. And there is no any more deities around that linga. So enough space where leave. The sanctum has also a drainage canal. So to remove the water, there was a drainage in the Garbhagriha. The pillars are divided into 3 parts and all the parts were of different sizes. Same pillars, but it is divided into 3 parts. All the parts are different sizes. The pillars have no uniform ornamentation. So each part is decorated by so many sculptures. There is no uniform ornamentation. It is decorated by different sculptures. The backside walls are divided into 4 niches on which the base relief images of Shiva, Vishnu, Durga, Ganapati, Subramania, Surya, Brahma and Saraswati are carved out. The Dwarapalakas, that is a gatekeeper, that figure also on the either side of the sanctum. Rocket and structural temples was significant part of the Pandya architecture. The illustrious example, the most important example for rocket style is unfinished Kalugumalai Vettuvan Koil temple. It is not completed. Vettuvan Koil temple is not completed. It is in Kalugumalai. The Vettuvan Koil, a monolithic temple, that means mono means single, lith means rock. So that temple was made up of a single rock. It was in Kalugamalai. It's a hang out of a huge builder on four sides. At the top of the temple, sculptures of Uma Maheshwarar, Dakshinamurti, Vishnu, and Brahma are found. Meenakshi Amman Temple in Madurai and Nelliyappa Temple in Tirunelveli is a best example for Pandyan architectural style. You see this picture. This is Kalugumalai Vettuvan Koil temple. It is not completed. It is fully made up of a single rock that we call monolithic temple. See here, this is Nelliyappa temple corridor. It is in Tirunelveli. Now we will see the sculptures. The walls of the caves are decorated with the bas relief of the gods and goddesses. So all the walls of the caves are decorated by so many gods and goddesses. In the case of structural temples, the walls of sanctums are free from image decoration. Instead, the superstructures and the pillars are the sculptures. So in the Garbhagriha, there was no decoration, but in the walls, so many decorated structures or sculptures are there. The sculptures look majestic, having elaborate shoulders, slim bodies, beautiful ornament, and high crowns. So the sculptures are high, majestic, and elaborate shoulder figure, and slim body figure, and a beautiful ornament decorated by the stones and high crowns, monarchs. You see here, this is the walls are decorated by so many sculptures, isn't it? This is we call Vettuvan Koil temple sculptures. Tirupurangundram, Anaimalai, and Kalugamalai have the base relief of many deities, small gods. Shiva, Vishnu, Brahma, Parvati, Subramanya, Ganapati, and Dakshinamurti. These are some remarkable images of the cave temples. Many early Pandya images are unearthed from Madurai and its surrounding areas nowadays also. Now in Tirumalai Mahal Museum at Madurai. These are the best example. So students, up to this we have completed the lesson. So today we have studied about Tamil Nadu art and architecture. Which architecture's origin in Tamil Nadu? Yes, Dravidian architectures. Our architecture's stage was divided into 5 stages. The Pallava epoch, early Chola period, and later Chola period, and Vijayanagar Nayak period, and modern period. And among these 5 stages, we have completed the first stages, Pallava epoch. The remaining part will be seen in the next class. Today I will give some short answers. You copy in your class work note and study well. Thank you.